Hey, how you doing? This is Kitch, and welcome back to another episode of Kitch's Blueprint Book. If you cannot tell by where I'm standing right now, today we are going to be talking a little bit about mining. Mining is a very handy blueprint to have, especially when you're setting up outposts. And recently I've had kind of a little change in heart about my mining setup. So I thought going around and making a new blueprint for those and to kind of share my thoughts where I'm kind of going with them would be a good idea. So mining, like at the start, is pretty basic. I don't really think you need like a starting mining blueprint. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, you just grab the miners and put them in kind of a pattern like this. At least I do. And grab your yellow belt and send it straight out. And we'll put a power pole like on the outside, something like that. And they'll just go to town, mining, right? And it works out pretty well. If I want to, keep tiling this, I can. We can take it up like that, and then we move it over. We line up that power pole and that power pole. And this just basically becomes our beginning mining setup. We don't use blueprints for that. At least I don't in the beginning. I'm doing this all by hand, manually, just kind of manually setting up the whole area. And I mean, it works. It's effective. It works pretty good. We're not getting maximum coverage on the patch though, and that was like one of my first realizations in Factorio, and one of the things that really made me kind of change the way I run miners. So if you were watching the Practical Factorio or Mega Basics series, I use this mining setup to start out, but once I start like making outposts and using robots for the construction of those outposts, I have a different mining blueprint that I use, which looks fairly similar. But what I do is, we'll take, like, in this case, a red belt and run it down the middle. But I like to grab an underground like that and put the power pole in the middle. Now, this looks very similar to this over here, but it actually allows us to get a much more compact layout. If we tile this up, or we tile it over this way, like this, we don't have this space in the middle. So we're not covering this. I believe there are other setups you can do that actually get more coverage than this. But since this tiled setup is back to back, we don't have this space right here, and we are covering just every single available tile with as many miners as we can. Like I said, in a reasonable fashion. There's some other setups you can do that I think are that cover a little bit better than this, but I mean this is awful darn close. So this is what I did for a while, and just to give you an idea on what my thought process was here. To fill up a red belt, just fully compress a red belt with miners, you need, oh gosh, what is it? It's like 50, 53, 54, 51 maybe miners. It's quite a few. So that's basically what you need to fill that up. To fill up a blue belt with ore with miners, I think you need like 77. That's and that's a lot. You need 77 miners on that blue belt in order to fill it up. And just looking at that, let's just take a look at what that looks like. Let's go down here to mine copper 3. And so let's see how many we have on this belt right here. Let's just take this one right here. We have 63 miners. And that is not enough to fill up this blue belt. But as you will observe, the blue belt is completely filled up, and all of these miners here are doing absolutely nothing. The reason for that is because we're actually taking it to an outpost, and it's completely backed up. So you look over here, and there's just all these miners here doing nothing. And we've got roughly 648 miners basically doing nothing at all, and taking up 90 kilowatts of energy. That is not insignificant. When a train does come, you'll see it does kick on a lot of these miners, and they do fill up fast. A lot of them get to moving. But for the most part, what these miners are doing is sitting idle. Now I've got some mining productivity I've got quite a bit of mining productivity, actually. Actually, I'm at 100% in this save. So we're basically doubling. We don't need 77. We need, what, 35, 38, something like that. Yeah. 38, 39 miners to fill that up. But still, you know, you don't have that starting out. And that's just filled up. And over here, miners doing nothing. Up here, all these miners are moving. Now, I did something different up here. I basically divided this patch in half and sent half of them down here and half of them up here. And that to two different stations. So we don't have like a full amount here, but we still have, I don't know how many are maybe to right there. 32 miners. So that is actually enough to fill up that blue belt. But as you can see, it's idle because they're not moving all the time. So moral of that story is I think this setup, although in theory it works really well, I think there's some factors that I didn't really consider whenever I first designed that setup, and that they just sit idle a lot of the time. So I'm thinking about a different mining setup. And I mean, if we were to take it to the extreme, right? Let's just take it to the extreme. Let's get this guy right here. You can see the amount of area this miner can take. And so if we were to max that out, we would do something like that. And then like that, and then like that. And we'd have to like take our belt like that and bring that in like that, and set that up with a power pole there. And that could possibly work. That gives us full ore coverage, but still, allows us to what? Where did those achievements come from? I did some things with updating mods. I'm guessing that has something to do with it. But our tiling would look like that, and it would be extremely sparse. Now, I'm not sure if that is going to be an effective setup in very many instances. I don't know. It looks like it may work for really, really, really large ore patches, but I'm not sure taking the extreme route there is really, really, that's funny. I'm getting achievements now. I'm not sure that that setting it that sparse is a realistic way to go about doing it. So I'm thinking about like a compromise, right? What if we did like this, and we'll put just one space in between them, something like that, and run the belt down like that, and put an extra space down here. We can fit our power pole right in the middle, and do something like that. So the way this would tile would be, like this. And we also have some options, right? Whenever we're doing these tilings, if we could do it close together like that, we could do it with a space between them like that, or we could do two spaces between them like that, and the power poles still match. So it's one of those things where it would give us some variation. And I think I'm actually kind of liking that a little bit better. I don't know. It just kind of gives some more options to better manipulate your miners with the ore patch that you're dealing with. This one, I believe, is still valid. I still believe that that's a valid setup. And let me give you an example of that. If I go to like maybe not this one. That one's backed up. But like this coal one right here. These miners move a lot. This is a small patch that has a very big draw on it. So in this particular instance, having these miners as tight as possible is actually a good idea. And boy, this patch needs a haircut. But I don't know. That layout works really good for that one. I'm not sure if the coal is going to be in the same situation. No, not really. But I bet this copper patch down here is. I bet it's running. Yeah, so your smaller ore patches that are visited frequently, you would want this tight setup. That makes a lot of sense. Even with 100% mining productivity, all these guys aren't still humming. This is where if the ore's constantly being pulled out, this is where the number of miners mathematically on the belt makes a lot more sense. But on a big ore patch, this tight setup just makes no sense for this situation. Having these miners spread out to where there's less miners working less, I believe personally think that that's just a wiser layout. So yeah, there's an alternative miner layout, and I think I want to kind of set that as version 1.0 of my mining blueprint, having two setups, one for our smaller patches and one for our larger ones. This one right here, while a blueprint setup that I will use, I don't think I need a blueprint for it because I'm never gonna build that with robots. These ones I am though. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a blueprint of this. I'm going to, let's see, how do we want to do this? I'll keep it at that size. I may put 2 miners there, like 2 miners, just to signify that that's a compact setup or a tight setup. And we'll put a red belt to signify that that's a red belt. And call this Kitch's Mining. Compact. And red belt 1.0. Good. All right. I like that. And we'll have this one over here. And it'll just be 1 miner. Red. Kitch's Mining. Let's call it sparse, even though we saw what sparse was. This is sparser. Red and 1.0. All right, so those are the base units of our smelting design. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take it out like maybe 3. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. We're going to take it out like 3, right? Because whenever we're putting down, we don't want to do it with a little one. We want a longer setup. So I'm going to take a blueprint of this. We'll do the double miners, red belt, and I'm going to put an L on this to specify that this is the long setup. So I'm going to call this Kitch's Mining, compact, red, long, 1.0. There we go. And same thing over here for this guy. We're going to go ahead and blueprint that. 1 belt, that, and an L for long. Kitch's Mining. Sparse, red, long, 1.0. And there we go. All right, so that'll work for kind of like mid-game, maybe, setting up mid-game outposts. But in the late game, I basically convert everything over to blue belt. So I want to get a version of these that are blue belt. That's weird. That's weird. I don't know where those achievements came from. I updated my mods. I'm wondering if that's where they were somehow disabled because the mods weren't updated. I don't know. I have no idea. But we want to set all of this to blue. There we go. And let's see. We've got a red belt, a rogue red belt right here. All right. So let's grab a couple of blueprints. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and grab that one first. We want the blue belt icon. Kitch's Mining, sparse, blue, 1.0. And another blueprint. We want the blue belt and the L. Kitch's Mining, sparse, blue, long, 1.0. And a couple more blueprints here. We want, let's see, double on that. Blue belt, and just that. Kitch's mining. That's a compact blue setup. And then we just need one more, which is our long setup. So another these, a blue belt, and an L. Kitch's mining. Compact blue long 1.0. All right, and I think those are the two that I want to have with me. And did I not get that? I don't think I got that. Did I get it now? I think I got it now. Just double check. Oh, we didn't get the icons. I'll get this blueprint thing down. I'll get this blueprint thing down. Don't you worry. Okay, and we want the L. Good. All right, so I think that's good. I'm going to grab a new blueprint book and put that in my inventory. We're going to open that up, and that is going to be Kitch's mining book. We want probably starting with the red guy there, you. Then we'll do the red long, and then we'll do the red compact, and the red compact long, and then the blue sparse long, blue compact, and blue compact long. All right, and that is our book. That is our book right there. And I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I don't know. I look at something like this, especially like in the Mega Basic series where we were running low on power, and I just look at this and say, look at all that wasted power. I don't know that we're going to save a whole bunch of power, but I don't know. Let's just have a look here. Let's see. Can we take all of you out? We should have a blueprint book right now that has all of that stuff in it. Where did it go? There we go. We want the long. Let's just line this up here. And we'll take you down. And this over here is 18 miners, and in the exact same space, we have 14. So we're saving 4 miners in that amount of space. And I don't know if that... I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if that's worth it. But, I don't know. It seems to make a lot more sense to me. Well, I'm curious to hear your thoughts below on the matter, or maybe there is another mining setup that you use that I just have completely overlooked. I would love to hear it. Mining is one of those things where, I don't know, I think they're important blueprints to have. You use them a lot, and the setup that you have is really going to affect the way a lot of your stations and things like that work. But I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next episode of Kitch's Blueprint Book. Thank you for watching. See you next time.